Since the turn of the millennium, the National League has been a battlefield where legends are forged in the heat of October and in the grind of the dog days. We've witnessed the rise of the Moneyball era, the fall of curses that lasted a century, and the emergences of athletes who didn't just play the game, they reinvented it. From the power hitters who redefined the long ball to the multi-tooled phenoms who shattered a century of baseball logic, the last 25 years have been a golden age for the senior circuit. Today, we're counting down every single National League MVP from 2000 to 2025. This isn't just a list of names. It's the story of a quarter century of dominance. Grab your glove and settle in. This is the definitive history of National League greatness. And now, starting at second base, number 10, Jeff Kent. The millennium kicked off with a middle infield power surge in the Bay Area. Jeff Kent was the heart of a Giants team that defied the odds, often outslugging his legendary teammate Barry Bonds. In 2000, he slashed an incredible .334 with 33 home runs and 125 RBIs. His intensity at the plate was legendary, posting a 1.021 OPS that made him the most feared second baseman in the league. Jeff once claimed that he didn't care about being liked by teammates as long as he was driving in runs. Playing left field, number 25, Barry Bonds. Then came the most dominant stretch by a single player in the history of the sport. Barry Bonds didn't just win the MVP in 2001, he won it 4 times in a row, leading the Giants to heights of offensive efficiency that bordered on the impossible. He brought a style of play the National League hadn't seen, shattering the single-season home run record with 73-01 and drawing so many intentional walks it felt like a glitch in a game. 232 walks in a single season? It was pure magic. To keep himself focused, Bonds was famously meticulous about his equipment, reportedly discarding bats if the grain wasn't perfectly straight. At first base, number 5, Albert Pujols. St. Louis struck gold in 2005 as the machine truly began his reign. While the world focused on his smooth swing, Pujols was the engine of the Cardinals' offense. Playing 161 games, the first baseman drove in 117 runs and hit 41 homers, providing the clutch hits that fueled the Cardinals' 100-win season. As a rookie, Albert was so humble he lived in a basement apartment, which might explain why he never lost that blue-collar work ethic. Playing first base, number 6, Ryan Howard. Before the Bryce Harper era, there was the big piece in Philadelphia. In 2006, Howard was arguably the most powerful player to ever pick up a bat. He hit a massive 58 home runs and led the league with 149 RBIs, proving that even as a young player, his individual power was undeniable. Known for his massive frame, Howard once famously admitted he was terrified of spiders, despite being a giant on the field. At shortstop, number 11, Jimmy Rollins. The Phillies claimed a second straight trophy as J-Roll declared his team the team to beat and then backed it up. He played a Gold Glove shortstop and kept a lethal swing, recording 30 homers and 20 triples. He became the first National League player in history to join the 20-20-20-20 club, silencing any critics who thought shortstops couldn't lead a championship charge. Rollins once reportedly practiced his home run trot in his backyard as a kid, dreaming of the day he'd do it in a Phillies jersey. Playing first base, number 5, Albert Pujols. The Machine returned to the podium in 2008. The Dominican first baseman was a machine in the middle of the lineup, hitting .357 with 116 RBIs, serving as the cornerstone for a Cardinals team that remained a perennial threat. Before choosing baseball, Pujols was a standout shortstop in high school, though his power eventually moved him to first base for the better of the game. We've covered the legends who defined the start of the century. But before we get into the Harper and Acuña era, let's take a quick timeout. Did you know that in the entire history of the National League, only one player has ever won the MVP 7 different times? That is, of course, Barry Bonds, who holds more MVP trophies than most entire franchises have in their history. It's a testament to the sheer statistical dominance required to stay at the top of this game. Now, I want to hear from you. We've seen some incredible seasons so far, but who do you think had the most undisputed MVP run? Was it Bonds' 73 home run explosion or Pujols' decade of consistency? Drop a comment below right now with your pick. And if you're enjoying this deep dive into National League history, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We're tracking the best to ever do it, and you don't want to miss any of our upcoming videos. let's get back to the action. At first base, number 5, Albert Pujols. In 2009, Albert Pujols did something almost impossible. He won his 3rd MVP unanimously. Consistent doesn't cover it. He led the league in home runs, runs scored, and slugging percentage. Playing first base, number 19, Joey Votto. Joey Votto's 2010 season was a masterclass in plate discipline. He hit .324 and seemed to reach base in every single game. His cerebral approach was terrifying, leading the Reds back to the postseason for the first time in 15 years. During his MVP season, Votto was so obsessed with the strike zone that he reportedly practiced identifying pitches while wearing an eye patch to strengthen his vision. At left field, number 8, Ryan Braun. Rarely does a young star dominate enough to take the MVP from veterans, but Ryan Braun's 2011 was undeniable. 33 homers, 33 steals, and a .312 average. He was the first Brewer to win the award since Robin Yount, reminding everyone that Milwaukee had a homegrown superstar capable of carrying a team. Despite being a power hitter, Braun was an avid chess player, using the game to stay mentally sharp during long road trips. Starting at catcher, number 28, Buster Posey. The Posey era was a masterclass in leadership. In 2012, Buster achieved the incredible feat of winning a batting title and a World Series in the same year. He hit .336 and caught nearly every inning, proving to be the greatest all-around catcher of his generation. Buster is famous for his calm demeanor, once telling a teammate that he never felt nervous because he treated every pitch like a math problem. At center field, number 22, Andrew McCutchen. Kutch finally brought the MVP back to Pittsburgh in 2013. It was the beginning of a resurgence for the Pirates. McCutchen was the prototype: speed, defense, and power. He led the league in personality and charisma, officially taking the mantle as the face of the National League. He's so obsessed with his hair that he reportedly kept his signature dreadlocks in a special box after finally cutting them for charity. Starting pitcher, number 22, Clayton Kershaw. The Kersh year was a masterpiece on the mound. Clayton Kershaw played with an edge, winning 21 games with a ridiculous 1.77 ERA. He was the catalyst for the Dodgers' decade of dominance. Kershaw was so committed to his routine that he refused to talk to anyone on game days, claiming that silence was the only way to find his hook. Playing right field, number 34, Bryce Harper. Harper returned to the top of his potential in 2015. Despite his youth, Harper's numbers were staggering. He led the league in home runs and OBP, proving that the hype was real. It was becoming clear Bryce Harper was the chosen one the league had been waiting for. At third base, number 17, Kris Bryant. Standing as the cornerstone of a historic team, Kris Bryant's 2016 was a giant performance. He hit 39 homers and led the Cubs to their first title in 108 years. His ability to play multiple positions was unparalleled. Bryant once appeared as a prankster in a video where he pretended to be a transfer student on a college baseball team, proving he has a sense of humor to match his MVP talent. Playing right field, number 27, Giancarlo Stanton. In 2017, Giancarlo Stanton had a season for the ages. He hit 59 home runs, leading the league in nearly every power category. He was a physical marvel for a Marlins team that lived and died by his swing. Stanton is such a talented athlete that he was offered multiple college scholarships for football, which makes his baseball power look like a natural evolution. At left field, number 22, Christian Yelich. Yelich's 2018 was a second-half explosion. He nearly won the Triple Crown, leading the league in batting average and slugging. By this point, the debate wasn't whether he was a star, but how the Marlins ever let him go. During his high school days, Yelich was so skinny that his friends nicknamed him the Human Pencil, though he clearly filled out his frame by the time he reached Milwaukee. Playing right field, number 35, Cody Bellinger. The 2019 season belonged to Cody Bellinger. He hit 47 home runs and played in elite right field. He was the young leader the Dodgers needed, proving that the next generation of stars had arrived. Cody was so overwhelmed by his first home run that he reportedly forgot to touch second base and had to be yelled at by his third base coach. At first base, number 5, Freddie Freeman. In 2020, the world changed, but Freddie Freeman stayed consistent. He hit .341 and led the Braves through a shortened season with grace. He was a unanimous selection in the hearts of Braves fans. When he first arrived in the big leagues, Freddie was so friendly that opponents often joked he was trying to nice them into a loss. Playing right field, number 34, Bryce Harper. The showman bet on himself in Philly and won. He led the league in slugging and doubles, carrying the Phillies on his massive shoulders. Standing 6'3", Bryce is so intense that during a 2017 game, he famously got into a dugout scuffle with his own pitcher over a hustle play. At first base, number 46, Paul Goldschmidt. Goldie proved consistency as king in 2022. He led the league in nearly every offensive category for much of the season while maintaining his status as a Gold Glove defender. He became a veteran leader in St. Louis, a feat that solidified his Hall of Fame trajectory. At right field, number 13, Ronald Acuña Jr. Acuña did the unthinkable in 2023. He became the first player in history to hit 40 home runs and steal 70 bases in a single season. His dynamic play and energy as the Brave spark plug solidified him as the modern face of the National League. And your designated hitter, number 17, Shohei Ohtani. The most recent chapters of National League history have been written in blue. Ohtani moved to the senior circuit and continued his assault on the record books, securing back-to-back MVPs in 24 and 25. His dominance as the league's premier power threat and his global icon status have defined this new era of baseball. 25 years, 25 legends. From the power of Jeff Kent to the historic speed of Ronald Acuña Jr., the National League has been the stage for some of the greatest individual performances in the history of sport. These players didn't just win an award, they defined what we thought was possible on a baseball diamond. But it makes you wonder, as we look toward the next 25 years, what will the MVP look like? Will we see more 40-70 threats like Acuña, or will the game return to the pitching-heavy dominance of the Kershaw era? Baseball is always evolving, always changing, yet the pursuit of greatness remains the same. If you could pick just one player from this list to start a franchise with today, who would it be? Is it the power of Bonds, the machine-like consistency of Pujols, or the all-around brilliance of Ohtani? Let us know in the comments, and if you love this journey through the National League, make sure to check out our other videos on baseball history. Thanks for watching. This is Strike Zone.